brother just mentioned a point about the missionaries, the Christian missionaries that work on the many islands, and that they take advantage of the poor situation of some of the Indonesian Muslims. And this is something they do also in Africa, by the way, in sub-Saharan Africa. They go to the villages, they give them money or food, and they say, well, at the same time, you have to accept Jesus is God. And they will say, yes, we accept Jesus is God, or whatever they want, because they are starving and they are hungry. So this is a way that it's a desperate thing the missionaries are doing. They are manipulating the people. But let me be honest with you. Christianity is like a wave. Christianity is like a small wave. But there is a new religion now of the West, and it's no longer Christianity. It is liberalism. And that one is like a tsunami. So Christianity is like a small wave, and liberalism is like a big tsunami. And the truth is, what the brother was talking about before, the LGBTQ movement, the feminist movement, all of these things, the transgender movement, all of that is an offshoot, really, of liberalism. It can only exist because of liberalism. So if there is a snake, the head of the snake is liberalism. If you look at it statistically, yes, in most of the countries of the West, Christianity is going down now. For example, I live in the United Kingdom, yes? In the United Kingdom, now Christianity is a minority religion. It is 40%. 20 years ago, it was 75%, which means in 20 years, it's gone down by like 35%. This is a massive. Look at the United States of America. Look at Scandinavian countries, the European countries. Christianity everywhere is going down. Every single place. So, it is a mistake to think that the big threat to the Muslims is Christianity. It is a threat. But it is a secondary or tertiary threat. The enemy is in your house. It is your phone. The phone that you give to your children, the iPad, the television. And liberalism is being spread through this medium. Before, this country was colonized by a small country called Holland for hundreds of years. Small country. Look, Indonesia is a big country, millions of people, this and that. And a small country, small European country colonized it for hundreds of years. It's Holland. Now, the new colonial threat, it is not a small country, but it is a small idea. The idea of liberalism. Before, the tactic used to be to convert people, or to change people, or to exploit people by putting men on the ground with guns. Now it's a new strategy, it's a new tactic. And the strategy and the tactic is to let them think they're free. To make them believe, deceive them. It's a new way. Convince them. Let them watch a movie. For example, everybody watches American movies. Everybody. I know in Indonesia you watch South Korean. For some reason it's very popular, but South Korea itself is colonized. So this is a problem, because it's a double colonization. Because they themselves, they've taken the disease like a COVID and now give it to you. Same thing, liberalism is coming through South Korea as an auxiliary. But the point is, what I'm saying to you is now you have to understand. Because before you solve a problem, you have to understand the problem. When someone is sick, they go to the doctor, and before the doctor gives them tablets, prescribe something for them, they have to diagnose them first. So what I'm saying to you is the correct diagnostic is that people are not convinced with Islam, some people, especially the younger generation, as much as they are convinced with Western ideas. They are being converted to liberalism. And it's coming unconsciously. So how, the question is, if this is what's happening, and it's likely to happen more and more in Indonesia, and it's likely to spread worse, especially when you have, like the brother mentioned, in Thailand. I just come from Thailand, everywhere there was the pride flag. This is Thailand. I mean, it's a country actually that's never been colonized. It's never been colonized. Thailand. It's never been colonized by anybody. Well, they're colonizing themselves. They're doing it. I was just there in Bangkok, and some bad things were happening. In fact, I saw European guys there, and I videoed this, by the way, just in case. I did. And there was some women, you know, I don't know what their work is, I don't want to guess. But he was swearing at them and shouting at them and stuff. I said, what are you doing? Because he's coming and he's, you know, he thinks he owns Thailand now. He's the master. And they're all his slaves, you see. That's what he thinks. And then I said, I videoed it, I'll put it on YouTube, you can see. I said to him, what are you doing? And then he was very shocked. I said to him, don't do this. Don't come with your European arrogance to a country like this. Now, we need to be careful because the same thing is going to happen to us in Indonesia. So, what is liberalism? This is the first question. Liberalism is an ideology. It's an idea. It's an idea that was constructed by the white man. The white man who made it, okay, in England, and in America, and in France. I know this sounds simple, but this is what happened. The white man who made this idea, it's called liberalism. It started maybe 16th century, 17th century, this time, yes? And the idea is divided into three. There's a political idea, there is an economic idea, and there's a social idea. The one that we care about the most is the social one. The political one and the economic one, we can just put that to the side for now. How would you summarize then this idea? The idea is, you can do whatever you want. This is the idea of liberalism. If you want to summarize it, this is the idea that they are trying to spread. You can do whatever you want, so long as you do not harm anybody else. This is liberalism. It's the new religion. One time I took my children to a European country, and they said, what is the religion of these people? I said, the religion of these people is liberalism. I didn't say Christianity or atheism, because they follow this idea. That's why they will tell you LGBT is okay. We have to understand them. Because we can just say, okay, well, it's abomination, and it's against the Quran, it's against this, against that. They don't believe in the Quran. These people, they don't believe in Quran and Hadith and Sunnah. They don't even believe in the Bible. You have to understand their madhab. Everybody has madhab. They have madhab. And they have usul as well of the madhab. And their usul of the madhab is this idea. You can do whatever you want so long as you don't harm anybody else. Where did this idea come from? This idea came from, number one, something called hedonistic principle. I'll tell you what this means. The Quran states, أَفَرَأَيْتَ مَنِ اتَّخَذَ إِلَهَهُ هَوَاهُ. Have you seen the one who takes his desires, his own whims and desires, his shahwa? Yeah, you say this as well? Shahwa. He takes his shahwa as God. Yani he worships his own shahwa, his own desires. The Quran says that. Have you seen this one? Liberalism, it says you can do whatever you want. Your shahwa is your God. This is what it says. You see this? The sanam, the new idol, is your shahwa. Your idol is your desires. Yes? You can do whatever. You can enjoy, you can, sorry to say, have intercourses, you can eat whatever you want, you can drink, you can sniff. It's no problem. It's no problem. So long as you don't harm somebody else. And I'm going to give you a very crude example, and please forgive me for this example. Very crude example. But there's this one guy called John Stuart Mill. He was seen as the big figure, like the prophet for them of liberalism, social liberalism. His teacher was a man called Jeremy Bentham, okay? And he said, listen, he didn't believe in the harm principle. He didn't believe. He said you should do whatever you want. It's okay, just enjoy it. So long as so many people enjoy themselves. This is the beginning. So somebody said to him, sorry to say, what about one man? Okay, many men, many different men. And they get one woman, okay? And they assault her sexually, sorry to say. Like each one of them. She's one woman going through pain, but there's many men going through pleasures. So surely it should be, it's allowed. But Jeremy Bentham said, yeah, it should be allowed. In my madhab, Jeremy Bentham said, this is allowed, jaiz, mubah. This is halal. No. J.S. Mill said, no, this is problem. He said, you can enjoy yourself, no problem. So long as you don't what? Harm somebody else. You can do whatever you like. Let your desires go free, but just don't harm somebody else. This is the madhab now. And this madhab, is called the harm principle, is the madhab of the harm, of the West. This is the one. So when the homosexual comes, he will say, listen, what's the problem? I and this man here, for example, we are in a relationship, we love each other, we do everything. We're not harming anyone else. You see the argument here. It's not, we would say astaghfirullah because we're Muslim. Yes, we say this is haram, you know. أليس منكم رجلا رشيد is not like the Quran says this. But they don't believe in the Quran. Their madhab is built on different usul. So the question is, how do we break this idea? How do we break this idea? Before, in the past, Imam al-Ghazali, rahimahullah, he wrote a book called Tahafut al-Falasifah, which is the incoherence of the philosophers. And what he did is he responded in an intellectual way to the ideas of Ibn Sina, of Avicenna. Some of the ideas, Qidam al-Alam, etc., etc. And he broke the argument down. We have to do the same thing today with liberalism. So the first thing we say is, okay, your usul is that you can do whatever you want so long as you don't harm anyone else. What is the proof of this? Now let me explain what I mean by this. The Quran states, قُلْ هَاتُوا بُرْهَانَكُمْ إِن كُنتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. Bring your evidences if you're truthful. Now they say something is good. Something is good manners. Something is good behavior. Something is right. If it means that you can not harm anyone else and you can do what you want. I say, what is the evidence that that's what constitutes goodness? Now this, you might think it's a very easy question, a trivial question. But believe me, no one has been able to answer this simple question. John Stuart Mill, like I said before, the prophet of liberalism, social liberalism, he tried to answer this question. And he said that if something is desirable, then it should be done. But he went into a what you call circular reasoning. It's dull, it's illogical, it's begging the question. So which means he did not have any evidence for what he believes. As I said before, the Westerner, he is telling you what to believe, but he's not giving you any evidence for this belief. The Muslim, his belief is the following. He says, look, if Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is truly a true prophet, and if Allah exists and he spoke to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, then everything the Quran says and the Hadith says is true. It is the right way of living. And the Quran says, قُلْ فَأْتُوا بِكِتَابٍ وَأَهْدَى مِنْهُمَا أَتَّبِعْهُ إِن كُنْتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. It says, bring a book that is more in guidance than the Quran and the Torah, and I will follow it. What am I trying to say? I'm trying to say, so long as we can prove God exists and the Prophet is a true prophet, two things we must prove. Okay? So long as we can prove those two things, everything that comes from Quran and Sunnah is correct. Like if you go to a doctor and you tell them your symptoms, why, and they give you medicine. Why do you take this medicine? Because you trust the doctor. You trust the authority of the doctor. He has authority. So he's studied medicine, he's done this, he's done that. So I trust his authority. Likewise, if you trust the authority of the Quran and the Hadith, then you will follow everything aside of it. So our job is to show why the Quran and Hadith are truly from God. We have evidences for that, by the way, and maybe I'll mention a few. But the point I'm making is, at least we try and answer the question of evidence. The liberal, the white man, the colonizer, the Westerner, he has no evidence for his beliefs. And he will admit it. He will say, I don't really have any evidence to show you why the harm principle, which is you can do whatever you like, so long as you don't harm anybody else. I don't have any evidence as to why this is true. I'll give you another thing, because these two ideologies are mixed, and you have to be careful with this, especially the sisters and the brothers as well, which is second wave feminism. And you will say, there's no problem, someone will say, what is the problem with being Muslim and feminist at the same time? You say, there's no problem. I say, there's no problem in believing in women's rights and being a Muslim at the same time. That's what we believe. We believe in women's rights, and we're Muslim. There's no problem. We believe women's rights are given by Allah, actually. But feminism doesn't just talk about women's rights. Feminism says that men and women must be equal in every regard. In every regard. I was reading a small book called The Feminist Manifesto. And Ngozi, who the one who wrote this book, she said, everything must be the same. Everything except for breastfeeding. Why? Because the man doesn't have any breast yet. Obviously, the transgender will say, this is a problem. We believe that we have breast and this. Anyway, this is a different story. But, no, because now they're taking tablets and they have operations and this and that and all this kind of thing. But the point is, if you say everything should be the same, the question is, what's the evidence for that? Yani, we as Muslims believe men and women are equal in terms of spirituality. It's true. Like, for example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, that whoever does good, من ذكر أو أنثى وهو مؤمن فأولئك يدخلون الجنة يرزقون فيها بغير حساب. That the ones who, if it's man or woman, does good, خلاص, these are the ones who are good, that will go to heaven and so on. Okay, we believe in this kind of equality, but we don't believe everything should be the same. There are some things man should do, some roles, and some things the woman should do. The feminists will say no. Why should the man marry 4 women, for example? Why? And the woman, she can only marry 1 man. This is unfair. This is what the feminists are. Okay. For example, they'll say inheritance. You might have heard these questions before. Why is the inheritance different in the Quran with the men? Why? Why, for example, you read Surah Nisa, there's many differences about men and women. You've heard these ayahs before. All the men, they know it, they use it against their wives all the time. I know this ayah more than Fatiha itself, because I keep teaching. But I'm saying, Yani, someone will say, okay, what's the problem, Yani, why? You must understand that the question that you are asking itself needs to be questioned. We have to question the question. Why are you asking this question? Because you think, because of the feminist movement, because of the white woman in the 1960s who were burning the bra in America in Berkeley University of California. What's that got to do with Indonesian people and Indonesian culture and tradition? Remember, they're transporting these ideas to you, just like they transported liberalism. Now they're transporting feminism, and it's a mix of liberalism and feminism. It's a cocktail. Liberal feminism. It is. This is the new religion. And then you will say, why is the Quran against this, for example? The question we ask them is, قُلْ هَاتُوا بُرْهَانَكُمْ. Because what you are saying is, different things should be treated the same. Yani, men and women are different. The feminist is saying, despite the differences, yani, men have differences, they should be treated, everyone should be treated the same in every case. You say that's not. It's not a normal thing to say, is it? It's not very normal to say this. Because, for example, there are things which women have, which men don't have. For example, women can give birth. I'm giving a very simple example, right? I know the transgenders will say, well, actually, this and actually, put them to the side for now. I'm saying, should we treat men and women the same? When the woman is pregnant, for example, should should have some rights that the men. We say yes, you should have some rights that the woman doesn't have. Man doesn't have. Okay, so what else? I tell you what else. Men are physically stronger than women, on average. Now I say on average because nowadays, you know, some people take tablets and injections and all this. You can get a woman that's as strong as a horse. I've seen them myself. But what I'm saying to you is this. If you look now, in America, in New York, they have the fire, you know, the firefighters, the one who put out the fire, yes? And they have an obstacle course they have to do before they enter this profession. They wanted to make it 50-50 women-men ratio, okay? But women are slower than men. If you look at the Olympics, you will see that the numbers of 100-meter sprint is much faster for men. Actually, it's much faster for black men as well than white men. Another thing. That's another question. But anyway. So they try to change it, manipulate it. So now they want to bring more women inside. They make the obstacle course, instead of like say 10 minutes, they make it 12 minutes. So we can have more women inside the firefighting profession. Okay. So now when you have burning building, everyone burning, screaming, burning, this. Now you have a woman that's going to be up and save the people 2 minutes later. Already the children are dead. Imagine a feminist inside. She's screaming for help. She's a feminist. She says, I need help now. And there's no men on that day, it's only a woman. So she would beg for a man to come and help.
Yeah.
She would beg for it. Why do I need a slower woman when I can have a faster man? So what I'm saying is that when women can do something better than a man, this is something we should allow the woman to do. Breastfeeding, childcare, there's lots of things. I know it sounds like trivial. Whenever we mention these examples, look at these examples he's giving. No, but these are very powerful things women do. Huh? But when a man can do something better than a woman, then let him do it. So Islam says we treat different things in a different way.
Yeah.
You see? And feminism says no, we treat different things in the same way. So we say, tell me why we should treat the different things in the same way. This is your choice now, or your prerogative, to tell us why we should treat the different things. So feminism and liberalism, both of them are lacking evidence. Remember we said before, it used to be small countries colonizing big countries like Indonesia. Yeah. Now we have small ideas trying to colonize big countries. And they are small ideas. They're small. They're weak. They don't even... If you watch some of the feminist debates, they're the most embarrassing debates ever. Because there's no arguments presented. What can they say? Think about it. So feminism and Islam in this way are not compatible. This is the reason why people leave Islam, become Mu'tad. Because they say, why Islam, it doesn't have the same values for men and women in every case. In their mind, they've already been colonized.
Yeah.
And they put on the glasses of the white man or the white woman. You see how they have the fake Quran over there that the Sheikh was showing? Okay. When you have different colored glasses, you see the world in different colors. Yeah. If I was wearing a pink glasses, okay, that I would have taken from the Thailand. Taking pink glasses. Okay? I will see the world pink. It doesn't mean the world is actually pink. It just means I'm wearing pink glasses. So if you wear the feminist glasses and you read the Quran, you'll think everything is pink, everything is... Either you're going to try and impose something on the Quran, or you're going to reject the Quran because it's going against your lenses. So we have to take off the glasses of the colonizer. This is the new colonialism. This is the tidal wave. This is the tsunami that's going to... A tsunami did hit Indonesia. But we suppose that those people who have been killed in that tsunami, those hundreds of thousands, inshallah, shaheed of some sort. Amen. Because there is a hadith actually, I'm sure you know it, about the one who dies from Gharaq, the one who drowned. But the more dangerous tsunami is the tsunami of ideology. Yeah. Because if someone is infected by that one, they don't die shaheed, they die behind that. This is more dangerous. It's better to die in a tsunami, a real tsunami, than to die in the colonial tsunami. It's better. So, what I want to present to you quickly before we end is we said this is the new colonialism. We as Muslims have our own way of proving our religion. I can't go through all of it now because I want to make it into an interactive session. But suffice it for me to say that every part of our shahada we can prove with evidence. For example, the idea that God exists. I will give you just one or two things at each level. Very simple thing. Very simple thing. For example, God exists. How we prove God exists, there's many ways, but I'll show you just one easy way. One easy way is, what do we know? We know we exist. We know there is existence. Okay, there is existence. We exist. No problem. What else do we know? We know there's a universe. Okay, universe, yes. What else do we know? We know the universe is complicated. There's two explanations. Either this came from knowledge or it came from no knowledge. And if I saw a watch on the floor, and this is very famous, it's called the watchmaker argument. Yeah? If you saw a watch on the floor in one of the rainforests here in Indonesia, you could either assume that the watch made itself, maybe the particle, there's something happened, all the chemicals, or someone manufactured it. But what is more complicated, the universe or the watch? The universe is infinitely more complicated than the watch. So the question is, do you ascribe knowledge to the universe or not? We say yes. Okay, so what does this knowledge want from us? Either he created us for a reason or no reason. If there's no reason, I don't understand why everything is put in its place perfectly in the universe, but the human being does not have a purpose. Doesn't make sense. So if we have a purpose then, what is the purpose? The purpose is to submit to the higher force, just like everything else is submitting to the higher force. It's Islam. Tawan al Karan. So the first thing I said to prove God's existence is simply to mention the universe and say, does this come from knowledge or no knowledge? This uniformity, this complexity of the universe. Okay, what about the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ being the true prophet? This, you say two things, simple things. Number one, we say the Quran is the only book in the world with no contradictions inside it. The first page of the Bible has contradictions. You open the Bible, Genesis, the first page. If you just look at the first page, it's got contradictions inside. So what's going on? For example, it's mentioned in the first day God created the night and the day. Yes? But on the fourth day, God created the luminaries, the sun. But how can you have night and day without the sun? In the third day, God created the plants and the vegetation. This is the Bible. But how can you have plants and vegetation without the sun? Because you need it for photosynthesis. And then if you look at Genesis chapter 2, verse 5, it says no plants have sprung up yet. But I thought it said there was already plants. So there's plants or no plants? This is contradictions. In the first page of the Bible. So when you start to examine other scriptures, you start to realize they're filled with contradictions. The Quran is the only one with no contradiction. And you can see, I've gone into great detail about how you can prove that Muhammad ﷺ is a true prophet. I've got something on my website, mohammedhijab.com, of 10 proofs of why Islam is true. I won't go into it now because it will make it too long. But the point is, at least there's an attempt to prove. The liberal and the feminists are not even attempting to prove that we are attempting to prove. We are showing why we are on the haqq. And with that, I will open it up, inshallah, for questions and answers.
MasyaAllah. MasyaAllah. Ada satu hal yang saya tangkap. That's one that I really give thanks to Allah. Ya. Jadi kita kayak dibikin seperti fokus kepada satu masalah ini, pembertahan. Padahal ada yang bermain di tempat lain ini, liberalisme ini masih. Dan bahkan ada orang-orang liberalism, feminism, dan